The Chargers offense was a tale of two halves against the Raiders. In the first half, it seems like they couldn't do anything. They couldn't run the ball. They could not protect Justin Herbert, and Justin Herbert didn't have any time to throw. And then in the second half, it felt like a whole different offense for the most part. They were able to break things through in the run game, specifically J.K. Dobbins, and the offensive line was able to protect Justin Herbert more. So I decided to go back and watch the tape. So let's get through this Chargers offensive breakdown against the Raiders. So this is the very first play of the game, and as you're going to see, the Raiders on this left side, they're going to attack this Chargers offensive line early. They're going to do a stunt move right here, and Maxx Crosby is going to go inside this defensive lineman towards the outside. So they're attacking Rashawn Slater and Zion Johnson, plus they're blitzing this DB, Trevon Merrick, on the edge. Gus Edwards able to get a little chip block right there, but Zion Johnson isn't able to hold up that defensive lineman. Justin Herbert does a nice job of getting rid of this ball to Will Dissly for a nice pickup, a couple yards. And Will Dissly also struggled to start this game. He had 3 penalties, but look at the progression that Justin Herbert goes through right here. Under pressure, he feels the pressure coming, still looking towards the middle of the field. Now he's looking left, back to the middle, and then boom, he looks towards the right side. Let me just get that helmet turn, left, boom, back towards the right, and gets that ball off as he's being hit from behind. So he's got this 300-pound defensive lineman on his butt, and he's still able to get rid of that ball to Will Dissly and get some first down yardage. Like, really nice. This is actually one of those few plays in the first half that the Chargers offensive line actually did pretty well against the run. Only resulted in just like a few yards pickup though, but these linebackers are going towards this left side, collapsing on this left side because that's the strong side of the play. We got the fullback, the tight end, and the receiver on that side. Gus Edwards gets the ball. We got that double team, and you can see he starts moving left to try to get that linebacker to suck down into the double team even more, and then busts out to this gap right here towards the right side. He did a nice job fitting through that gap. It wasn't that big, but let me just do a freeze frame like right about here. Because look, double team right here, and then these two offensive linemen, Joe Alt and Trey Pipkins, taking up their guys. This is a beautiful freeze frame. Jim Harbaugh is going to frame this in his bedroom. But you know what's not beautiful? A 7-man blitz against only 6 blockers. We got 5 blockers and then J.K. Dobbins right here. But the linebacker, Robert Spillane, goes right through this A-gap, almost completely unattested. Zion Johnson getting that right hand out there, but Robert Spillane does a nice job of just, swimming him away. And then J.K. Dobbins does a really nice job, boom, of picking up Divine Diablo. But Justin Herbert is going to throw this ball to Hayden Hurst, but Hayden Hurst is not even looking. That's why he tucks this thing and then ends up getting sacked because he's got nowhere else. He's got no more time, and that's a 7-man blitz against 6 blockers. J.K. Dobbins did a nice job to give Justin a little bit of time right there on this block, but Robert Spillane was coming in a hurry because he was basically completely unattested, and that was like the story of the first half. Now in this one, you're going to see the Chargers offensive line protection. It's going to slant left. And then the Raiders defensive line, they're going to slant right. And they're also bringing a blitz on this left side. But really, this right side is what I want you to look at because they're slanting these two guys to take up Joe Alt and Trey Pipkins. J.K. Dobbins goes out on this flat. And then Tyree Wilson is this free edge rusher. Justin Herbert tries to throw it over him, but you can see he's got some hops. So he tucks it again, and then he's just got no shot because he walks right into Maxx Crosby, who, if you look on this left side now, you can see he did this nice little stunt move towards the inside, went right past Bradley Bozeman, and was ready to get the sack. I want you to watch Zion Johnson on this play, the left guard, because Adam Butler, the Raiders defensive lineman, is just going to whoop! Go right by him on that spin move, bro. Oh my goodness. Justin Herbert with the man in his face is able to get that ball off. But the good thing about this play is you look at our edges, okay? Rashawn Slater working on Maxx Crosby. I want you to watch that with your left eye. And with your right eye, I want you to watch Joe Alt against Christian Wilkins, the big defensive lineman free agent signing the Raiders just had. These edges are looking nice. And then obviously we got this double team on John Jenkins, but Adam Butler is coming. You can see Justin Herbert even kind of feels that pressure a little bit. He's stepping back a little bit, throws it perfectly to Hayden Hurst though. And that's another one where he's under pressure. He's got to really get rid of it quickly. Okay, this is really beautiful blocking on this right side. We're just going to do a nice run to the right. Double team right here on Christian Wilkins. This is Joe Alt and Trey Pipkins doing work. Getting to the second level, Trey Pipkins picks up the linebacker, but Gus Edwards cuts back towards this inside instead of staying true to this lane. And look at that lane right there between Trey Pipkins and Joe Alt. You can see Joe Alt putting work, moving Christian Wilkins, an all-pro defensive lineman, all the way outside of the numbers, man. Like, that is what I want to see from my first round pick offensive lineman. Let's look at this in real speed, because if Gus Edwards just, boom, he just kept going outside, I think he would have gotten more yardage on that one. And this is one thing that I saw when Joe Alt was lined up against Maxx Crosby a couple times in this game. He was just able to use his speed against him. Just allow him to go towards the outside, and then you get that shoulder, push him all the way as far as you can outside of the pocket so that your quarterback can step up. And I know it looks like he's really close to him right here, but look at it from this angle, because here's Joe Alt right here against Maxx Crosby. You can see how far out he gets. He's not close at all. Look at that. He's not close at all. Justin Herbert is able to get that ball off. He's 2.5 yards away, and he could have like rolled out to his right side. Look at all this green grass on the bottom of the screen right here that he could have used if he did not throw this ball over the middle. So good protection by Joe Alt against Maxx Crosby. Here's another one of those reps where we're going to see Joe Alt against Maxx Crosby one-on-one in pass protection. Right here, the Raiders are showing 2 interior linebacker blitzing, but they both drop back, and then we have this DB on this right side blitzing, and then they also have Christian Wilkins crash into that center. Trey Pipkins does a nice job of keeping his eyes up and picking up that DB that's blitzing, not getting confused by that linebacker action in the middle, and then Joe Alt one-on-one. Again, just use his speed against him and push him all the way towards the outside. And on this one, I think he had even more room to work with. Justin Herbert did. Let's just look at this to make sure. Yeah, he's way out there. Justin Herbert had all the space in the world to get that throw off to Ladd McConkey. Raiders defense, man, they played really well. You can see like how tough it was to get yards. Like, you throw that to Ladd, he gets immediately tackled by Robert Spillane. Raiders defense played really well, and they really gave the Chargers offensive line a lot to handle. So the Raiders defensive line here, they're going to slant right, and then they're going to bring this DB blitz. It's going to be open right here. There's going to be a big gap, and you can see because Christian Wilkins slants right, we have his huge hole for this Raiders DB to blitz through, and Will Dissly is trying to pick up Maxx Crosby to help out with Scott Matlock because he's struggling a little bit, but Justin Herbert is able to get that ball off before the DB hits him to Ladd McConkey, and this one goes for a first down because Ladd is able to get some yak on that play. But let me take this back, because if you are of good vision, you probably saw Joe Alt against Christian Wilkins, and he finished Christian Wilkins into the ground on this play. This is an all-pro defensive lineman, Christian Wilkins. He's a very good player, okay? So don't let this fool you. Don't let him being a Raider and you hate Raiders fool you, okay? Joe Alt just did that to an all-pro defensive lineman in his first game in the NFL. And this happened a couple times in the first half, but Zion Johnson, again, we're going to see that stunt move. This is Adam Butler going towards the outside, Maxx Crosby going towards the inside, and Zion Johnson isn't able to keep his head up and pick up that stunt move. You can see how his head is literally like all the way down right here. And yeah, I mean, look at this. There's no way that he's not putting himself in a good position to pick up that man that's coming into that gap. Maxx Crosby hits the quarterback. Again, Justin is able to get rid of it, but like just barely. And you can't be putting your quarterback in situations like this consistently. Bro, look at this protection. It is beautiful. I'm going to play it in real speed. Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater are doing perfect on this play. And also the interior offensive line is able to do some work too. And that ball, touchdown to Josh Palmer, right? Boop. He drops it. But you know what? That ball was a little bit behind him. It looked like he was probably trying to get Josh Palmer to stop in the backside of the end zone right here, because he saw this other defender coming up and he was about to hit him. So he wanted to allow Josh Palmer to secure that catch behind him. They weren't really on the same page, so that's kind of a miscommunication on their part. But doing a good job here. Joe Alt doing a great job anchoring against Maxx Crosby. And then Rashawn Slater, obviously one of the best tackles in the game. But look at Justin Herbert's feet, because you can see the pressure is affecting him a little bit. He's looking around in his progressions, and he's got a little bit of happy feet. There's an extra few steps that he wouldn't normally be taking. And then that ball, yeah, I mean, it was placed pretty well. And this is another one. We're going to see really good protection for Justin Herbert on this play, but he's going to have some pressure on this left side, and he feels this pressure. Really, it's not even like anywhere close to him, but he starts rolling out to the right because of it. And then now he's looking at Josh Palmer and he's looking at Ladd McConkey, but he can't throw it to either of these guys because this DB right here is in between them. Plus we got an underneath man and an over the top man. So not really any target to go to, but if he just looked over here to the middle of the field, I know he can zip that thing in there and get that to Hayden Hurst for a touchdown, but he doesn't look over the middle of the field because you're really not supposed to look across the field when you're rolling out one way. Coaches tell you not to do that. And he's able to throw that to Josh Palmer for a very minimal gain on like a 3rd and long. It's like a 3rd and 7, but he had a touchdown over the middle. Here's that first big J.K. Dobbins run, and it works because of Zion Johnson. He is way better against the run than the pass. And you can see he's just going to push away Adam Butler and then get to the second level, pick up that linebacker, and then J.K. Dobbins has this huge hole, especially because Marcus Epps was blitzing on this play, so they caught the Raiders in a blitz, which is what they were doing all game, and they knew that they were doing that, so they counter by using runs like this and having Zion Johnson get to that second level, free him up, and then you have Hayden Hurst pushing away this DB and J.K. Dobbins off to the races, but he doesn't have the long speed to get all the way into the end zone. And then here's that J.K. Dobbins touchdown late in the game. You can see that the defender right here, this is Divine Diablo, overcommitted to this outside because, again, the Chargers are catching the Raiders in these blitzes. That is the coaching change that I think they made in the second half. They catch them in these bad blitzes, and Joe Alt is able to have Maxx Crosby out here. Trey Pipkins, Bradley Bozeman double team. Look at this huge hole J.K. Dobbins can run through, especially because Divine Diablo overcommitted on that outside. And then look at Ladd McConkey taking up Marcus Epps in the end zone so that J.K. Dobbins can run in. If Ladd McConkey didn't get that block, I don't think that would have been a touchdown. So big shout out to Ladd right there. And look at, he's also pushing him after the play. I love to see that. Get some tenacity, man. Okay, this is the last one-on-one I'm going to show you of Joe Alt against Maxx Crosby. Just look at this. This is a thing of freaking beauty, man. Maxx Crosby goes right into him. He does a little bit of a long arm right there, you can see. But Joe Alt with the anchor, and that's just textbook perfect. Everything about it, the hand placement, the body. I mean, oh my goodness. And then a quick throw to Gus Edwards because Justin Herbert was pressured on this left side. Obviously, Rashawn Slater's getting ball rushed a little bit right there, but quick dump off to the running back. That's kind of what this game was. A lot of quick passes because Justin Herbert just didn't really have the time. They were able to get the run game going in the second half. Like, here's the last play that I'm going to show you. This is that big 61-yard run that J.K. Dobbins had. We got Scott Matlock, the fullback. Will Dissly this time is taking on Maxx Crosby. He does just enough to not let him get into that play. Joe Alt is right here as well, taking up this defensive lineman, Scott Matlock, right there. And then you can see this left side completely opened up because Rashawn Slater is that backside blocker. Zion Johnson doing work against Adam Butler, and you just go right through this hole, and then it's off to the races again with Simi Fehoko, the wide receiver. This is why we're getting these big runs, is because wide receivers are getting good blocks down the field, man. That is why this run game is playing so well. Or at least in the second half, they played real well. In the first half, it was a bit of a struggle. So those are a couple plays from the Chargers offense against the Raiders. And if you did not see my video yesterday, here are all the highlights and takeaways from the game.